I'm Steph, and this is Steph's Hodgepodge of Gaming, Gen Con 2019 edition. I have a lot to talk about, and I'm going to do it all in like 15 minutes. Okay, 20 minutes. Okay. So, I have a top 10 list of Gen Con titles coming out that I've played. And then I'm going to talk about 5 expansions that I'm excited about, and 5 games that I definitely want to check out at Gen Con. So I'm going to start with the games I've played because those are the ones I know. You know what I mean? I'm going to start with one that I recently just got. It is awesome. It was my most anticipated game for Gen Con. I'm super excited for it, and that is Aeon's End: A New Age. Now, this game is awesome. If you're an Aeon's End fan, you're going to love it. I started out with Aeon's End in April this year. Hadn't played it before. Knew nothing really about it other than deck builder. I played the Legacy version. I was hooked. Hooked. Loved Legacy. Now, ever since I finished Legacy, I've been playing the different variations of just the games of Aeon's End. And now, New Age is just coming out. Kickstarters are going to get that real soon. They put this new expansion allows you to combine all of the Aeon's End universe cards that you have. Legacy even. I get to use my characters again for the Legacy. It is like a new campaign mode that will bring you through different levels of difficulty, and you get to play a campaign style game using all of your content that you already have. It is awesome. I love it. It's top game. So good. This is my number 1 SN pick. If you're a fan of the game at all, this is for you. Next on my list, I have Cartographers. It's a game I've been playing a lot recently, and it's a roll and write. You get to create your own maps, and there's little monster figures that come into play. The other people get to draw little monsters on your board to try and, mess you up and take over your spaces. But really, it's a puzzle game where you're trying to lay out your map so that you will score a lot of points. There's conditions for how you score points, and everything you do in this game is critical to how you're scoring points based on what you're doing. Love it. Love it. The next game I'm going to talk about is Hodari. This should have won the Spiel des Jahres. I mean, this game is perfect nomination for the Spiel des Jahres. I have no idea why it didn't win. This should have been the game of the year for them. It's like Seven Wonders, where you're civ building, like that kind of thing. It actually has a lot of similarities to Seven Wonders. However, people who aren't really a fan of Seven Wonders have liked this one that I've shown, because everybody I show this game loves this game. There's nothing to really hate. You get critical choices between 2 cards, but then you might get that card later on. So you're kind of preparing yourself for later in part B of, phase 1, part B, and A. There's all these different parts, and there's lots of planning and lots of good choices to be made. I can't recommend this game more. Number 4 on my list is Underwater Cities. Now, this game came out at Essen, and I've been playing it a whole bunch. Therefore, it doesn't seem that new to me, but it is now going to be available in the United States, so it will be new to many people. There's a lot of tableau building. It's worker placement. There's big choices to be made. It's a heavier game. It will take you a long time to play this game, so it's not really just for sit down and party kind of game. It's a serious game, and you have to be in the right mindset, but there's a lot of great choices. This will be a big hit for sure. Whoever doesn't have it, who likes these types of games, will now get the chance to own it, which is awesome. My number 5 is another roll and write, which is actually really a draft and write, because you are drafting cards in Boomerang. And what's interesting about Boomerang is that there is a card that you're going to draft first, and it's face down. Whatever number card that is, maybe it's a 3. The last card that I draft out of 7 cards, if it's a 3 or higher, will score me points. So you're it's almost like a betting kind of case. So there's different ways you're scoring. You're scoring sets, you're filling out your touristy map of Australia. But the Boomerang part is really the catch for me. Because get it? Catch. Aha! I wasn't even trying. That was funny. But I always try and play risky and play with higher numbers, because if I play a 6, I'm going to have to get a 6 or 7 in that final card to get big points. But there's other ways to score points. That's just a very small part of the game. But it's such a cool feature and something I haven't really seen before. But I've been playing Boomerang a bunch recently, and it's a perfect little card game, roll and write game that is perfect for travel, and I will bring it wherever I go because it's easy, and I can teach anybody. I love it. Love it. My number 6 is Imperial Settlers, Empires of the North. Now, this one really surprised me because I like Imperial Settlers just fine. This one has a little bit more to it. There's action discs and other things you're doing to try and focus on. Now, everybody will have a unique deck, much like Imperial Settlers, and there will be a little bit of take that depending on the cards you get in activation. So there still is that element of take that, which was probably my biggest issue with Imperial Settlers. But I really do think at its heart, both Imperial Settlers and Empires of the North are best with 2 players. So I would, if you are a 2-player gamer, I think this might be a good choice for you. It comes with so many decks of cards and so much variety in the game box already, that they put a lot of thought into this. I think it is the next level up for Imperial Settlers, and one I will always probably choose to play over Imperial Settlers. So going forward, Empires of the North. My number 7, yep, 7, that's right, I can count, is Parks. Parks is so beautiful. Oh my goodness. This has got to be one of the prettiest games of the year for me. I don't think that there is a prettier game. I mean, I love what they've done here. They've taken art already in existence with the national parks, and they've incorporated it into this wonderful game. It has a really cool time walking track for, you're collecting your gear, and hopefully you can go, collect that park at the end of your trail with different resources that you've collected. It's a pretty simple set collection game, but there's a lot more going on because you're collecting different types of gear, which gives you discounts and comboing that you're going to be doing. I don't think my family could possibly play this one, but they'd probably be interested in seeing it. Now, I think there's just a little bit too many rules for them. But for casual gamers who are just getting into the hobby that can listen to a rule set, this would be a good, kind of entry-level game for them to get them into a little bit, it's like a stepping stone from a Splendor to, a next heavier game like Seven Wonders or something. It's like somewhere in there. Next one I want to talk about is Fuji. Now, this is a cooperative dice rolling game where you have your hidden shield and you're rolling dice behind here, and you're trying to pick out a spot on the map where you can walk to that you might have the majority of. So it might say majority of yellows. If you have 4 yellow dice and you count up all your pips, you can possibly have a higher value than everybody else at the table. If you don't, then you can't move. If you do, then you do move, and you're trying to move because you're trying to get away from the volcano that is ever so seepingly coming at you, and you as a group are trying to make it through to the exit to win the game. And you can ramp up the difficulty depending on how good you are at this game. I'm not very good at this game. I've died a few times, but, I'm getting there. Next on my list is Amul, Stronghold Games, and Lotta Palette. They are putting out this card drafting game where you're trying to collect sets, and some cards want you to work with the people next to you, some cards don't. You're trying to collect big sets. If he has a camel, you don't really want a camel because it's worth less points, but then you don't want to give him those points, so maybe you take the camel. There's so much happening, and there's like a marketplace, and there's a lot of great things happening in Amul. And the more players you add, the more cards you get to add. So each game play will have different cards, possibly. If you play with fewer players, you won't see all the cards. If you play with 5 players, you'll add in 2 different types of cards. So you're going to see a constant change of cards. Whether or not that's good for setup, I mean, it might be more challenging, but I think in the long run, it's cool to have all that diversity in a game for the number of players. Finally, my number 10 game coming out of Gen Con is Deluvia Project. Now, this one is a bit older from Spielworks, but Tasty Mitchell Games picked it up for US, and so now it can be more widely available, because I think a lot of people missed this one several years ago. But it's a really intricate resource management, worker placement game, and every decision is critical. I don't love the art. Maybe they changed the art. I have no idea. But the gameplay itself is really interesting and lots of unique mechanics happening here that make me really excited to see it get a wider release for the US. Woo! So, very quickly, I'm going to run through my top 5 expansions coming out. The first one I'm talking about is Teotihuacan. I'm probably saying that wrong. I learned how to say it and then I forgot. So, sorry about that. I did get to play it. It's awesome. It makes the game that I already love so much better. Player powers, new temple tracks, events happening. There's so much happening. New boards that have changed the game. There's so much goodness in this expansion. It's no wonder it's the number 1 hotness for Gen Con. I and everybody else who loved Teo will love this expansion. It's a must-have for sure. Other ones I didn't get the chance to play. Sagrada is coming out with the new expansion. Hopefully, add a few more cards to keep up it interesting, because you have different hidden goals possibly. I have no idea what it adds. I just know that if it adds more cards, I want more cards. So more cards is better. Bunny Kingdom, I think it adds a whole new board. I have no idea. Maybe it adds another player. I don't know, but it has rainbows and it has more bunnies and I love it. More Bunny Kingdom makes me happy. Merlin. Now, so I haven't even played the other Merlin expansion, which is also on the list, and I need to play that too, but Merlin, the Knights of the Round Table, more Merlin, I want to play it. But the problem is I'm always teaching Merlin, so that I'm never playing with the expansions. Decrypto is the final expansion that I'm excited for. Now, this one, I don't know if it's just more word cards or if there's a whole new mechanic. I have no idea, but I want to find out because I've been enjoying Decrypto a lot. You know, it's a perfect game for the end of the night or a family function. My family enjoyed it, so if I can bring it and play with any number of people, it makes it better to have more options, and more from Decrypto is always good. Now, my top 5 want to play list. Now, this is harder because I don't know much about these games other than most of them are beautiful and I want to play them. First one is Welkin. Now, this is from Ankama, the publisher Ankama, and they make awesome games. I mean, I haven't been disappointed with their games yet, so I can only imagine that this is just as good. Brothers, Draftosaurus, Tales of Glory. I've loved almost everything that they've had that I've got to try. I've loved it. So they always have amazing art. So this is probably my number 1 want to play. And I think it's a city builder kind of game, but I'm not quite sure. Mega City Oceania. Now this game I missed out playing when I had a chance, so I've been kicking myself since then, but it has big buildings and it's glorious. It looks really cool, and I love city building, as I just mentioned. So Mega City Oceania is definitely on games I have to check out and definitely want to play. I have another one, Carnival of Monsters. Now, the title alone just brings me in. I'm like, Carnival? It's a Carnival of Monsters? Not like a dark pits of doom monsters or anything dark. Carnival kind of gives me that whimsy feel, and I automatically want to play this game. And it's by Richard Garfield, so I'm sure there's some interesting mechanics with his cards. Like, he always has some twist with his card games, which is awesome. So this is high on my list to try. Of course, I have to have at least one roll and write on my list, so I picked Cat Cafe. There are a bunch of others that I want to play, but Cat Cafe because, well, kitties. In June, I played a bunch of new cat games, and they just had me like, psh. So maybe it's the year for cat games. I don't know, but we say that every year, right? So I don't really know much about it other than I want to play it. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. The last one on my list is Reavers of Midgard. I mean, this board is just gorgeous. I mean, everything about this game is simply stunning. The art, everything. I got a few demo last year, and I was impressed. Like, this game has a lot going on. It's dice worker placement. There's ways to mitigate your dice so you're not stuck with the dice that you're rolling, but you're trying to collect all these points everywhere. It's totally a Euro game. So it's not exactly like Champions of Midgard. However, it's set in the same universe, so for those familiar with Midgard might get a similar feeling with the characters and other stuff involved, but it's really a Euro game at its heart, and it is gonna be awesome. I am super excited. Everything about it looks awesome. So props to Gray Fox Games for that one coming out. And, well, look at that. I went through everything I was going to talk about in like 15 minutes, right? How cool. So hopefully that gives you more insight to the world of Gen Con that I know and I'm excited about. Of course, my list was like 30 games I want to play. Let's see if I can make it happen. Of course, I'll come back at you after with, what my top highlights were in the blog. So stay tuned. Maybe I'll do a video for that if people want that. I have a lot to say. There's been so many great games this year already, so it's very exciting to see, the progression and what's coming out. So many good times ahead. Thanks for watching. Bye.